Another blowout loss to talk about. We'll try to have some fun coming up here on Locked On Sabres.
You're Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Sabres, and thanks for making us your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The most recent Sabre game, 7-0. Not a fun one to talk about, but we'll try to have some good conversations today here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. We will read some comments from our last episode in the YouTube comments section. We will give out our goat head of the night, as hard as that might be on a night like tonight. Maybe not as hard as you might think. And I got some thoughts on the goalie situation to get to in a little bit. And a burning question: is this season a success? Just in general, we'll check back in with that question. We've talked about it a couple of times, but how about now? And also, if you want it, we'll let you know what's going on with lottery standings. So if you don't want that, then don't tune into the last episode. But a 7-0 blowout. By the way, at Sneaky Joe Sports on Twitter. Go to YouTube, search Locked On Sabres. You can find us there. That's a great way to get involved with the show. At Locked On Sabres on Twitter as well. Actually, our first comment of the day, our last episode, was mainly about Devin Levi signing with the Sabres, and we'll talk a little bit about Levi in a little bit. He is in Buffalo. He's still having immigration paperwork worked out, so he cannot practice yet for the Sabres, but he said that could be coming in the next day or two. So we'll keep you updated on that. But NY Guy on YouTube says, Rangers fan here. Congrats on the signing. You guys have a really fun team to watch, and if Levi can play decently, you guys might get to the playoffs. That's not going to happen. He continues, though, rooting for the Sabres to get into the playoffs. That way, two teams follow. Got to watch Levi in the Beanpot tournament. What a monster he's looking to be. Wish him the best in Buffalo. He was unbelievable in the Beanpot tournament. He won the MVP of that tourney. Neil writes in, love your Hartford Whalers jersey. I wore the Whalers jersey for St. Patrick's Day. In my opinion, the fourth best logo in the league behind the Sabres, the Cleveland Barons, and the Kansas City Scouts. I know the Scouts logo. I'd have to Google the Cleveland Barons logo. I'd have to Google the Cleveland Barons logo to get a look at what it looks like. Here, we can share this on our YouTube channel here. Cleveland Barons. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. I don't mind it. I don't mind the Cleveland Barons look here. Yeah, that's fine. It's the state of Ohio. And they've got the B in the middle and the C around it. Okay, I'm fine with it. Who did the Barons become? The Avalanche? No, that's the Colorado. No, that's not Colorado Rockies. Avalanche were the Nordiques. Duh. Anyways, the Barons. All right, Sabres, you got in the top four. You might be sucking up a little bit there, but that's okay. Love the Whalers jersey. That was the best part of my weekend, was wearing that Whalers jersey when it came to hockey. 7-0. I actually went to Pittsburgh for a concert, and on my way back from Pittsburgh, I'm like, okay, yeah, Sabre game at 1 o'clock. All right, I'm going to listen to it on my way home. We had just left. It's a 3-hour drive. Like, perfect. Get to listen to the whole game in the car. I'll watch the game back later to see what I missed and, be able to break it down from there. So I turn it on, and I'm like, all right, there's Brian Koziel. There's the Sabre feed. And, all right, game starts. I'm, again, 25, 30 minutes out of Pittsburgh at this point, driving back to Buffalo. And the game gets underway, and boom! Before Dan Dunleavy can even introduce the game, boom, 1-0 Bruins over the Sabres, 15 seconds in. I got to say, not being able to look at the clock in the car, it felt like it was 5 seconds. But 15, take Dan's word for it, and the scoreboard's word for it. And then I hear all the noise, and I'm thinking, this can't be Bruins fans, are they? Bruins fans don't travel incredibly well. I mean, not like the Leafs, not like Montreal, not like Pittsburgh, Boston. And then, of course, when I watched the game back later, you watch that first goal especially, and everybody is standing up in black and gold. So the Bruins fans took over the arena a little bit. That's no fun. And 15 seconds in, it's like, oh, okay. I almost want to turn it off right now. And it didn't get any better from there. I'm not going to lie. 4-0. I gave it 4 goals. 4-0. I shut it off. I couldn't do it anymore. You're like, all right, I'm gonna listen to a podcast. I'm gonna listen to music or something. I can't. I'm already doing a long drive. I'm fine with driving, so I'm not getting annoyed or anything. But like, I can't listen to 5-0 hockey against the Boston Bruins. So I turned it off. Watched it back later. At least I watched a bunch of it back later. I couldn't get it through minute by minute. Yeah, it's a tough one. I will say though, watching it back, the Sabres played better than the scoreboard said, and then what the game sounded like. They actually, this will tend to happen when a team lets their foot off the gas when they get up early like that. That the other team, the team behind, starts to dominate possession and shot attempts and whatnot. Because when you look at the game, looking back, the Sabres had, in terms of 5-on-5 shot attempts, 44 to Boston's 29. Scoring chances were 25 for Buffalo, 20 for Boston. High danger chances, 13 for Buffalo, 9 for Boston. I mean, it really speaks to how incredibly well Jeremy Swayman, the Bruins goaltender, played in that game. Their 1B goaltender. He's 4th in the NHL in save percentage. Ullmark has been the star, but Swayman has been great as well. Sabres played pretty well. And actually, it wasn't just the second and the third period, like garbage time stat padding. Look at that first period. Pretty even. Shot attempts in the first period at 5-on-5, 12 for Buffalo, 9 for Boston. Scoring chances, 8 for Boston, 6 for Buffalo. High danger chances, 4-4. Pretty close. What was the difference, though? What was the difference in that first period? High danger scoring chances, exactly the same. Shot attempts slightly in favor of the Sabres. Scoring chances slightly in favor of Boston. What was the difference? The two teams played pretty evenly. What was the difference? Goaltending. Goaltending. Simply put, 3 for Boston and 0 for Buffalo. That's the difference. And if you look at expected goals in that first period, yeah, it's 0.8 to 0.6. So Swayman saves a half a goal above expectation, and Lucan lets in 2.2 goals above expectation. You can't have that. You cannot have that. That'll be a part of our goalie conversation that we get to in segment number 2 of the show here. But I mean, shots in the game, 26 to 25. I saw a lot of, the Sabres got bullied in this game. They got pushed around. Hits were 17 to 17. There was a fight between Dylan Cousins and Travis Frederick, evenly matched, right? Cousins won the early part of that fight. Frederick won the end. So they're bullied. It's not Boston anymore. Do not get it wrong. Do not think the Boston Bruins are the big, bad Bruins that they were 10 years ago. They don't have Chara. They don't have Lucic. Their important players are skilled guys. Bergeron and Pastrnak and McAvoy and Taylor Hall. Like, they are skilled. They are finesse. They are fast. They have some guys in their bottom 6 that are skilled and whatnot. But, Charlie Coyle. Give me a break with Charlie Coyle's pushing anybody around. Maybe Jake DeBrusk a little bit, but he's not big, bad, intimidating Jake DeBrusk. Tyler Bertuzzi even, he's more of a rat than he is a big bully. It's not the Bruins anymore. So any idea the Sabres didn't try, or any idea that the Bruins just outmatched them. You know what? A couple of things happen. The Sabres don't have a goaltender at this point in time that can bail them out. And Boston is the greatest team, one of the greatest teams in NHL history. They are going to set, or they're on pace to set the NHL record for both team points and wins. This happens when you're a high event team that allows a lot of goals and you play a team this good. 7-0 happens. Now with this team, it happens too much, but we'll talk about their flaw in a little bit. And I think goaltending is their fatal flaw right now. That's a game where it is 7 goals. And what were the expected goals in the game? It was 2.7 for Boston. That should have been a 3-2 hockey game or a 5-3 hockey game. The Sabres ran into a hot goalie and their goalie let them down. I don't want to put it that simply, but it's really how I felt after watching that game back. Goat head of the night. I got to give away goat head of the night for the game's best player. And I'm going to get for the Sabres, and I'm going to give it to Rasmus Dahlin. Rasmus Dahlin in this game, who I think, do we all kind of know he's playing through something? I don't know how major the injury is he's playing through, but he plays 24 minutes. He had 7 shots on goal. Now, he didn't get any points, of course, because the Sabres didn't score any goals. He was a -3. I don't care about plus minus. Now, what's important, Dahlin in this game, when he was on the ice, the Sabres had 23 shot attempts to Boston's 9. He was controlling the game. I thought he was making nice passes. Yeah, it wasn't perfect. Nobody was perfect on the night. There were some mistakes. But I thought Dahlin, I'm going to give it to Dahlin. Nobody I thought had an incredible night. You can't score 0 goals and really think anybody was incredible, but Dahlin did his thing. When we come back, the goalie situation, and then a burning question of, is the season a success? Both of those questions ahead here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. We are brought to you by Athletic Greens. With one delicious scoop of AG1, you are absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. Special blend of ingredients that supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, sleep, aging, all the things. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. And as I mentioned, it supports better sleep quality, which I know, very important to me as somebody that has to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I can't be awake until, midnight, lying awake in bed. I need to be able to get to sleep. So one thing I start at my morning with every day. Athletic Greens use the best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. AG1 is a small micro habit with big benefits. It's the one thing you could do every single day to take great care of yourself. Again, you have the drops right in your water or your coffee, or you can do the shakes. Just one scoop, it's all you need. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health, arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do, visit athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Sneaky Joe DiBiase back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. The Sabres fall 7-0 to the Boston Bruins. I don't even want to do the hunt. I guess for the listener's sake, let's do it. Sabres are at 72 points in 69 games. They are 6 points back of the Pittsburgh Penguins for a playoff spot. The Penguins actually have lost 3 in a row. That's a team right there. 6 points back. They've lost 9 of 11 and 3 wins in there. Lose 6 of 11. That's still a losing record in an 11-game streak, and they'd be tied with Pittsburgh in the standings. They've really blown an opportunity here that they've had. So 6 points back of the Penguins. They are 8 points back of the Islanders with 2 games in hand and a game to play against them. I mean, they're just running out of time. They're just out of time, right? 13 games. They really do not have enough time to make up that amount. So that's what you're looking at. The Bedard watch actually is even better. The Bedard watch, for tankathon.com, if you're looking for the lottery odds, the Sabres they're ineligible at the moment to win the first overall pick, which the lottery is on May 8th. They'd have to fall 2 more spots. If Ottawa and Washington passed the Sabres, they would have a 3% chance to win the first overall pick. Now, the way the lottery works this year, you could actually move up 10 spots. The Sabres could pick 3rd right now, but not 1st. But anyways, we're not at tank season yet. The goalie situation. So Devin Levi, he's not practicing, but he's at the arena. He's in Buffalo. He has his contract signed. He has his number picked out. We're just waiting for him to be able to get on the ice and maybe play a game. I think obviously now Tuesday against Nashville, that's where I predicted he might play. That's off the table now, I think. Montreal next week. There's an early game next week against Montreal on Monday, I think. And that's a soft opponent, even softer than Nashville. Home game, if you want it. I know the Sabres stink at home, but I think that might be a good target for Levi at this point. If Levi, who I think is maybe the most interesting thing the rest of the way, not are they going to get in the playoffs, because I don't think they're going to. Not that they're going to fall into Bedard range, but Devin Levi, can he change the course of their goalie conversation for next season? If Levi plays 5-6 games and looks really good, what do the Sabres do? To me, they'll have one of 4 options going into, may I say this? Going into a playoffs or bust season. They have to get in. A season like that. They have 4 options in goal if Levi looks good and looks like he is on his way to being NHL ready. They could do Devin Levi and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Now, not my favorite option. Why? 2 unprovens. 2 unprovens. Levi in a very limited sample size, even, if he gets games. And Lucan playing 40 games or so and not really showing anything that says he's NHL ready. I think Lucan, honestly, is in the NHL this early at 23 years old, which, yes, is a little early for goalies to crack into the league. He's here because of circumstance, not because of his play. In fact, his AHL play has been largely bad since he's been there. So, not here because of his play. Now, that's option 1. Option 2, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen and a new veteran. To me, this is the most likely option. Luukkonen remains. Levi gets sent down. He's the starter in Rochester for the full season, and the Sabres get a more accomplished goaltender that can help them push for the playoffs. Thatcher Demco is just an example, but that type of name that I will always make as the Exhibit A. Third option, Devin Levi and a new veteran goaltender. Same new veteran goaltender, your Thatcher Demco type, the guy that gives you a more reliability in net while also getting younger than Craig Anderson, guy who can play more. But you pair him with Levi. Now, this is, I think, possible. Levi would have to really show he's NHL ready. But if he does, and they don't want to block his path, but they also don't want to go with 2 unprovens, this is the acceptable outcome. I kind of like this option. This option, though, involves trading Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. And how crazy is that? I mean, Kevin Weeks did say it at the trade deadline for ESPN that Luukkonen was on the market, or he at least listed his name. I don't know what you could get for Luukkonen, but I have a trade comparison. This has happened. A very similar situation in the league where you had 2 good, young, unproven netminders coming in at the same time. This happened in Boston 2 years ago. Boston had Tuukka Rask retire, and they had 2 young goaltenders that were really coming on strong in their development. Daniel Vladar, who was a former 3rd-round pick, not too far off where Lucan is, of a 2nd-round pick, and Jeremy Swayman, who, like Devin Levi, had a stupendous college career and was roaring towards the NHL, only played 9 games in the AHL. Vladar, the one big difference in this comparison is Lukanen's played over 40 games. Vladar had only played 5 games for the Bruins, but had been really strong in the AHL. So Boston gets ready for the 2021-22 season, and they got 2 goalies, both young, both talented, both valuable, Daniel Vladar and Jeremy Swayman. But they're a cup contender, and they're a team that has to make the playoffs. So what do they say? Well, let's trade one of them. Let's trade one of our unprovens and get a proven. And we'll pair him with the other unproven. So we choose our favorite of the 2 unprovens, and we pair him with a proven. We'll trade the other unproven. That is exactly what I am suggesting the Sabres do with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. It's not because I hate Luukkonen. It's not because I don't think he could be a number 1 goalie in the NHL. I do think he could be that. Super athletic. And again, I think there's reason to say he shouldn't have been in the NHL yet. Vladar, as I mentioned, he didn't really become a regular with Calgary until he was 24. Now, the Bruins traded Daniel Vladar to Calgary, who's had decent success in the last 2 years as a backup. He's been a reliable number 2 for the Flames. And the Bruins went out and signed Linus Ullmark, a proven commodity, even if not a Vezina proven commodity, a proven commodity. So they trade Vladar, they sign Ullmark. They pair their kid star Swayman with Ullmark. And what I'm saying is the Sabres should take Luukkonen, either flip him directly for this goalie, or get an asset back and get this goalie another way, and essentially flip your goalie value from a 23-year-old unproven in Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to a more established 27-year-old, 28-year-old, 29-year-old, 32-year-old. I don't care. The one comparison you heard me make in the past was the Sabres have their Ryan Miller and Devin Levi, college star. They have their Finnish goalie prospect with up and down success, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Mika Nornen. They have their Mika Nornen. They have their Ryan Miller. They don't have their Marty Baron. And I will continue to say this all offseason. The Sabres need to get their Marty Baron. And Levi playing the rest of the way is going to make that decision, I think, really interesting for Kevyn Adams. And again, I will throw out that Boston comparable. They could trade Luukkonen. It would not be the first time somebody did something like it. When we come back, one last question for today's show, at least. Is this season a success? Excuse me. Well, the standings we'll take a look at, and I'll ask the question of whether or not Detroit and Ottawa matter to this equation the rest of the way. That's ahead here in the Locked On Sabres podcast. We're brought to you by Built Bar. If you're looking for a delicious treat, but you don't want all the fat and calories, then I've got the thing for you. You have got to try Built Bar. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they are so delicious, you won't even think they're good for you. It's perfect for your New Year's resolution. And what makes Built Bar so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate, unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, coconut almond. I am not sure how Built does it. These bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is they are healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, I've been telling you, go to Built.com and get your bars there. But now you go to your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today. Walk to the pharmacy section. Grab yourself a box of Built bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. If you're close to a Sam's Club, you can run in and grab a 13-bar box of hit flavors like brownie batter and churro. You can thank me later with Built Bar. Final segment here in the Locked On Sabres podcast. All right, pretty simply put, I'm just going to ask it up front. You feel free to comment in our YouTube section or hit me up on Twitter at Locked On Sabres. We'll read some answers on the next show. Get involved with the show here. Is this season at this point in time considered a success? And does it matter, more specifically, does it matter that the Sabres are currently above Ottawa and Detroit? And does it matter if they fall below Ottawa and Detroit? I mentioned the Connor Bedard standings earlier. The Sabres actually, they have a better chance right now, today, of winning the first overall pick than they do to make the playoffs. That's a fact. You can look up the odds, and it's more likely they get the first overall pick, even though they have to drop a couple spots. But if they do drop a couple spots, and the Senators, who the Sabres finished above last season, pass Buffalo. And if Detroit, who the Sabres finished above last season, pass Buffalo, can you reasonably call it a success? Because what would have happened is the Sabres would have progressed when it came to point total, right? They're going to end up in the 80s probably somewhere. But regress when it comes to the place they finish in. Gone from 5th in the division to 7th. Gone from, I think it was 11th in the conference to 14th, because that's a tough sell. I think my answer would still be it's a success. Individuals going forward, being in a race until March, taking a step forward in terms of wins and points. But your competition will have lapped you, will have gotten stronger. Ottawa, of course, with all the moves they made. Detroit with some moves as well. I, though, am not going to overreact to that. I promise to not overreact to that. If the Sabres finish 7th in the division, I'm not going to make too big a deal of it, because I do think the wins and the points matter more, and I think the individual developments matter more as well. But it's out there. Ottawa and Detroit as measuring sticks. But every loss they have here, it's going to be harder and harder to definitively say it's a success, because they really have fallen apart here. Again, 9 of their last 11 loss is tough. But again, let me know what you think at Locked On Sabres. You can check us out on YouTube and you can comment there as well. But that is going to do it for today's show. We'll talk more about the Predators coming up in our next show, the Sabres' Tuesday opponent. Kind of a coincidence. Nashville is in town on Tuesday, and then I am in Nashville on Thursday. So I will not have any shows for you on Friday, but I promise to get you a show on Thursday morning. So we'll have that for you on Locked On Sabres. So stay tuned through the next couple of days. Predators tomorrow, and we'll keep you updated on Levi Watch. When he might play, when he's practicing and whatnot. Injury update, by the way, just throwing at the end here. Jordan Greenway not practicing with the Sabres on Monday. So we'll have to keep an update for you on Greenway as well. Thanks for listening to Locked On Sabres and making us your first listen every day. Now go make your next listen Locked On Game to Game. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts.